when life hands you lemons, you make an outfit
You
with them.
could break both your arms and have them in casts, and I would just think it was a fashion choice. I wouldn't think twice about it.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me. You have no idea. That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes, and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of the people who listened to that conversation, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home, and as always, there's beer and soda and weird green drink in the fridge. Cheers. Let's do it. Cheers. One more time. Cheers. I didn't take a sip.
Same as last time.
Yeah.
Last time when I came and talked to you, last time I had the weird green drink. I always have the weird green drink. Whenever anybody asks me, I just say it's pea plant protein powder. That's the answer I give them.
It's all good. It's all good. Looks healthy. Looks good. Happy to be sitting here today. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this extraterrestrial being sitting to my left, this is my friend and fellow MC, fellow musician, fellow person living on this planet, Lexa Terrestrial. Make some noise for the internet.
Who's clapping?
There's a live studio audience.
Oh, hey guys, what's up? Thank you.
They're in the cupboards. It's Narnia.
Greetings, everybody. No, I believe you. Greetings. That's so cute. No, thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
So I'm happy to have you here. This is your third time on the show.
Yeah.
You were on back in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Good years, good times.
And then you were also on my 3rd year anniversary party in 2017.
Yeah, that was so
with
much
Mike
fun.
Hitt and Byron Nash.
Yep. All good
Meg
friends.
Fair.
Yeah.
Brett Shoemaker.
Yep.
It was a really good group of people.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually ran into Mike after my performance at Dutchtown, and we were just goofing off the whole time. He had a camera. I don't remember what I said, but Mike, if you're out there and you have that footage, please show it to me. He's so much fun. He really is. He's a funny guy. Oh, and he was at that... where was he at? He was at another show I did, but he's really funny. He's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's a really...
That was a good show.
He's a good dude. Mike's really, really good people. Make some noise for Mike Hitt.
Yeah. Make some noise. Well, make some noise for yourself, because this is really hard to do. Actually, people, you don't realize how much work and dedication and passion it takes to do all this. It's a lot, especially when you're doing it like we are all ourselves. It's a lot.
Hey, I love doing it, so I'm here, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you're here.
Thank you.
But I'll tell you this. We're here to talk about you and not me. So this is your third time on the show, but a general rundown for people that may be new to you. You're a musician and a personality, to say the least. You are quite a character, but I mean that in the best way possible.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad that hasn't been robbed of me, my soul, because it almost. Yeah, I'm glad I still have that left. But yeah, I've been into hip hop for a very, very long time, since I was little. I've been really. All my music it's hip hop, but it has a vein of EDM and grunge and sometimes dream pop, although my new stuff is very different. It's very, very different. Actually, no. Some of it's the same, but a lot of it's kind of sad.
Well, it's you, but you're just evolving, and it's probably a reflection of your life and where you are at in this current time.
Yeah, or devolving. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I know that there's a lot that's been going on. I don't know where we want to pick up today's conversation, because obviously you've been on the show before, so there's no need to get into the whole history and backstory and everything. So it's what have you been up to recently?
Yeah,
what's going on?
These people already know my BS. Can I swear on here?
Fuck no.
Okay,
I'm kidding.
No,
you can. That's fine.
I was gonna say no. Yeah, I was gonna say most of these people already know my BS. They know my story, but
you're allowed to swear.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's pick up. So yeah, it's been a really weird time for me. I got this weird disease, and I don't really know what to compare it to, like ALS or like Lyme's disease, but it really messed with everything that I worked for my whole life, you know? Like, as I put a lot of work into, like, being a vocalist and all of that stuff. And, like, it deteriorated, like, even just, like, my daily well-being, my quality of life. It was horrible. And, yeah, it kind of, like, made me miserable about everything. Like, I wouldn't even come out of my room for days, couldn't speak for days. And it's this thing called ENS, and it's definitely like fucked with. It's definitely fucked with my art, but really just like my overall being as a person. You know, I think it's not something I expected at all. I was not prepared for it. And at first I had no idea what was going on. So like around this time last year, I was like spiraling in this, like, I was like freaked out of my mind because I had no idea. And I had a feeling that this is what I might have, but I wasn't sure because I was like, there's no way I can have this. But it turns out that I did. And a lot of people don't know what it is. They think, and when they hear about it, they think, oh, that's not a big deal. That's stupid. But it's actually like it tears people's lives apart.
So what is it exactly?
Well, it's typically it's a man-made disease. It's a neuropathy and atrophy. Well, I'm about to sound like a science geek right now.
That's fine.
But you guys are going to learn something cool. Yeah. So it's like a neuropathy or an atrophy of the turbinates. You don't know what they are? Do you know what the turbinates are? I didn't know.
I have no idea. You got to let us know.
I didn't know what the turbinates were either. Because why the hell would I know what the turbinates were?
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's these little things in the sides of your nose, and they're your sinuses. And they a lot of people don't realize how important they are. You know, they don't they take for granted breathing or seeing or walking, and then one little thing happens to them, like they pinch a nerve, and then suddenly they're like, oh crap, like this one little thing that I took for granted actually makes a huge difference.
Sure.
Yeah. So it typically happens to you if you get like a sinus surgery or a septoplasty. And I got a septoplasty a couple years ago and didn't think it was going to be like this crazy of a thing, but it turned out to be like sort of a botched nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah, and the doctor never ended up telling me any of this. And so the whole time I'm thinking, what the hell is going on with me? Because I would be like, I know panic attacks. Like, right, I've had panic attacks. I have anxiety. It wasn't panic attacks. It was like a constant state of like Beaker from the Muppets. It was just a constant state of, it feels like you're suffocating. Like you try to take a breath in and it's not registering in your brain because all the nerves in your turbinates are damaged. Yeah. And it causes me to sometimes, it's gotten a lot better. It's not a curable thing. Like there's no cure for it, which is really horrible.
So what have you been doing to help alleviate some of the stuff?
Well, every night I shove a red laser up my ass, and that's really been working well for me. So no, really, really, yeah. Red light therapy, and I had to get a bunch of like painful injections into my nose. And
fuck.
Yeah, and it's I got stem cell injections. They actually like took a bunch of fat from my ass. Fortunately, there's a lot there, so it's okay. But it was weird. Yeah, they took fat from my ass. They mixed it with my blood and all these other things, and they injected them in there. There was a huge like scar tissue band on it, so the doctor cut it off. And it's improved a lot, but it's still like it when you breathe, sometimes it's like you're breathing in this burning, dry, cold air, and it fucks your throat up. So I'm like, I have a sore throat every day. I'm an artist. I have to perform. At this point, I was traveling and going on tours and opening up for other artists in other cities. And, you know, I was like at the peak where I just signed to a new agent, and I could barely focus on even driving myself to a show without wrecking my car because I couldn't freaking breathe. And it was like super weird because I was like, I know I'm breathing, but I'm not breathing.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. And then I just tried to like painfully muster through the things that I used to love doing. It felt like torture. And I didn't even want to listen to music because I like couldn't even sing along with it anymore. It became hell. And it's something I'm still fighting with today, but it's something I speak out a lot about because apparently I'm not the only person that has this. There's a lot of people that have it and a lot of people that continue to get it. And it's like something very paradoxical and not a lot of people can figure it out. So they've had the same situation I have. And I think, honestly, we're starting to find out that the sinuses and the turbinates are very like crucial they're like the lungs of your nose. They're,
Sure.
You don't just move somebody's heart over 45 degrees to the left, for no reason. That's like weird. So I think we're starting to like realize that this should probably be an illegal surgery, and doctors know that.
Can we talk more about the surgery? Like what exactly is the surgery?
Yeah, well, they go into your septum and the septum's just really this, you can't even see it. It's like a small partition between the nasal walls, I guess, and they straighten it. Well, and my doctor also he made it like look a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
But he also...
that's what the surgery was.
Yeah. He also ended up doing all this other stuff that like fucked me up. And he actually ended up deviating my septum even more, which is wild. But...
was this I don't know how much we can talk about what we can't talk about, but like, was it in Pittsburgh or was it like outside of the city?
I'll leave that anonymous.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave
Cool.
that anonymous.
Yeah, I was just curious, like if it was like something that was local or if I don't know.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
I mean, Pittsburgh, we're supposed to be leading. We're supposed to have the best medicine, right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be leading in medicine. We're not. Like none of the doctors here could.
So it was in Pittsburgh.
Well, none of the doctors here, put it this way, could figure out what was going on, and they.
Oh, we're talking post. Could figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And although I'm not going to say where he's located.
No.
He could be in that cupboard.
Okay. Yeah.
But
But this was I was just curious because I was just curious about.
Well, it's Pittsburgh.
I was just curious because I was just curious. Shut the fuck up. I need to learn how to talk. I was just curious if it was local or something that you had traveled for. Like if you were going to... So I imagine if you're going to travel for something like this, it would be because you're going to see a specialist.
Specialist, right. Exactly. So you would assume that they're specialists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I went to my ENT here. I went to a few. I had to get speech pathology after this. Like I'm somebody that's like very vocally trained and do a lot with my voice. So I was like, this is really wild. This has really caused a lot of weird shit to happen. But none of the doctors in Pittsburgh could figure it out. I went to a few. I went to like a what are they called? A neurologist who like works on nerves and burn victims and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, what you're saying sounds like ENS. And I'm like, she's like, give it a couple years and
a couple years,
see what happens. And I was
what?
Like, yeah. So, I mean, it's essentially like nobody here really like, so I ended up going to Ohio to this guy that specializes in patients that have had this happen. And there's a lot of them that pop up every day from getting this. And a lot of them are even like, I found this group because I'm supposed to be getting a sinus surgery or I'm getting whatever surgery. And a lot of them pop up in this group and because I guess they do research on it and they end up finding out about this. And some of them get the surgery and they warn their doctor, listen, I don't want this to happen. And then the doctor ends up doing it anyway and it ends up happening. And I'm just like, this is weird.
We're talking about the septoplasty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the times, I mean, honestly, the whole thing could have been avoided if he just didn't mess with the stuff that he did. But he did.
What's the reason for messing with the stuff?
I have no idea. I really don't know because I was never told about it. I was unconscious under the table, and I guess he just decided to do other things. I think the reason it's rather pointless. I think it was just to really help me in the healing process or something. But
Okay.
but when you're healing from something like that, you can't breathe really anyway. So it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it comes to medicines and surgeries and things like that, I'm pretty ignorant. I don't know a whole lot about
Oh
anything.
my God, I was too, because I trusted the doctors. Now I've had to become my own doctor and research it all.
You would want to trust stuff, but even I mean, I don't want to put his business all out there, but I think most people that know Ricky, who I play with in Greywalker, are very aware, because he's been pretty public about he's been having issues with a thing that, like, he doesn't know what it is. Like, he wasn't sure if it was Lyme disease or something else. Like, and it was like fucking with his hands, fucking with his muscles, his body's aching all the time. He's having a hard time playing guitar and all these things. And like, he was going to like all these different doctors, and nobody seemed to know what the fuck was going on. And it blows my mind that, like, it's one thing that if you don't know something, but if I was a doctor and I didn't know something,
I would want to figure it out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But the
where's
fact that
Dr. House when you need it?
There's so many people that
they don't
seems
care.
that like they don't give a fuck.
They just want to get to their lunch break and go home.
And I also, the thing is, like, I also don't know. It's like I try to be empathetic to it to some degree, because it's also like, well, obviously you or Ricky are not the only patient in the world. There's probably dozens of people that they're seeing every day, and they only have like the emotional and actual like physical bandwidth in their brain to deal with so much at once.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe a lot of hospitals are probably understaffed and things like that, because it's like, who the fuck wants to be a doctor nowadays? Everybody wants to be a fucking YouTuber. So that's a whole nother complicated story.
That's so true. That is so true. No, that is honestly so true. And I think they're just kind of like, it's a ride out the clock kind of situation, you know, but the doctor that I go to now has a huge passion for this.
That's good.
You know, and all of the people suffering from this, because he's lost a lot of patients, you know? And I mean, I think what Ricky's going through, it sounds like it could be like a neuropathy thing. It sounds like it could be Lyme's disease.
Yeah, you know, I'm not 100%.
I thought I had Lyme's disease, but I was like, nah, turn out to be this.
I'm not 100% sure what the status is of things now. Just being like pretty transparent with you, and whoever the fuck hears this. I don't really give a shit. But like, things with Greywalker have been pretty radio silent recently, just because like everybody has their own shit going on.
Yeah.
And just we really haven't been like playing a whole lot. We haven't been seeing each other a whole lot. And like, I really haven't even fucking talked to Ricky a whole lot recently. So like, the times that I have seen him, he seems to be doing better and like healthier and happier. But like, I don't know like what the result of that is. I don't know. I'm assuming that maybe he's like found something or somebody that's been able to like pinpoint some things and help him, because you know, he was pretty miserable, understandably, for a while.
Yeah, if it's something that affects your art too.
It seems like he's been pretty good. So, but I don't know 100% like what exactly his thing has been. But I'm glad to hear that, you know, you've finally been able to find somebody that seems to understand what's going on and is helping. Because I mean, you're here, you're talking, you seem like okay, you have your green drink, you sip some beers, you had a Brussels sprout downstairs. Yeah, you seem to be doing like,
I'm moving up in the world.
All things considered, you seem to be moving on a path towards some sort of recovery.
I'm trying. I'm trying. It's still, it's the one thing I hate is the pain that I deal with. It pretty much affects everything from here, my muscles, my joint, everything. It's miserable. And it's like, damn. Yeah. If it affects my art, like with Ricky, I bet that made him 1,000,000 times more depressed, because it's like, you know, a football player sprains his leg, 1,000,000 nerves are messed up, and he can't play. He doesn't know when he can play ever again. I mean, I'm still playing a lot, you know, but it doesn't, and nobody notices, but it doesn't feel the same to me.
Sure.
And that's what I don't like. It's a challenge. It's like, I'll have to like stick Q-tips up my nose just to like do my vocal warm-ups.
Wow.
It's really weird. I have to like do weird stuff or like hold my note because it's like it's almost like you can't feel it. It's weird.
My question is like, what do you do to actually like physically recover the damage done?
Well, this damage is if it's what my doctor said, nerve damage from the out fracture of the turbinates.
Like, is there anything they could do, or is it just like
the thing with tiny nerves? Is no, there isn't. There really isn't anything they could do. My doctor said, actually, you look like you've improved. I can tell, because he knows, but it's still like the same feeling. So I think it's like definitely like a nerve thing. And stem cells, red light therapy, cold laser therapy. I take a ton of supplements. As you know, I was vegan for like 5 years. I started eating like salmon here and there because that helps a little bit. And then there's stem cells, and then like this weird electrode thing that I use sometimes. It like zaps you, and I can feel. That's the thing, is like I can feel. It's like, oh my God, and you kind of put them there. That sort of helps.
Okay.
But I think if the nerves rewire weird, because nerves are very finicky, there's like a sheath and an axon. If they rewire differently. So a lot of the time when you have people that are paralyzed, peripheral nerves will regenerate decently. But anything else, it's like we still have to figure that out. That's why what's his name was getting so into stem cells. And I think stem cells like are the new wave of curing a lot of these things.
Sure, I've heard a lot of crazy things about that stuff.
Yeah. There's this one thing called exosomes, which are like almost like these little walkie-talkies of a stem cell, and they go into your body and they talk to your original DNA and repair it, anything that's different. So I was like sitting there talking to this doctor, and I was like, these exosomes, would they like grow back all the old stuff that and he's like, yeah, possibly. And I'm thinking, how wild is that? But it's not, the FDA doesn't want to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
they're not legal.
You can dip your toes in the water of conspiracy theory about like why the FDA hasn't approved half of the things that they should, and why they've approved so many things that they shouldn't have. But that's heavy conspiracy theory stuff.
It's not even a conspiracy. It's true. And I'm going to be talking to a few people, government officials about it, because I think there's a lot of people out there that there's no cure for what they have, and they can't work, and then they're stuck not being able to afford whatever it does.
No. Yeah. I don't really subscribe to anything.
Yeah,
I feel like the whole world is bullshit, and
it is.
I don't mean this in a negative way, but I do feel like my existence in the grand scheme of things is rather pointless. I'm just kind of here, and while I'm here, I'm gonna record podcasts with my friends and play shows and enjoy the fruits that I can while I can. I try not to think
best attitude.
I try not to think too much, but it is really hard for me to avoid certain things when I think about like a generation of like 9-year-olds that are getting their periods from drinking crazy hormone-filled milk and stuff.
No,
it's like,
that makes sense.
It's like, ugh.
That makes sense.
This is a thing that's happening. I'm not smart enough necessarily to have the discussion, but it like creeps me out.
No.
Because I feel like it's probably definitely happening. And it's like, why is this happening? I don't know.
No, you're right. And, it's everybody, the doctors will still tell you, drink your milk, and I'm like, well, I just think and it's weird. Every single person has a different opinion when it comes to health. I think something always just lies somewhere in the middle of the unknown. We don't know. But I really think this world is out to get us. And I think it's population control. There's a conspiracy for
sure. I feel like this is the way that those are lit up, but it's like way too bright in here. Here, let's do this real quick.
Oh, they're blinking.
I can turn down the brightness so you could see how you're like, oh no. Did that go on auto? Oh, no. I went up too high. There we go. Auto. There
You
we
can
go.
see him. You can see
There you go. That's it. All right. Let's bring the brightness back
pretty
up
cool.
to our normal level.
That's why if you ever see me in masks a lot of the time, it's because of that. I have a cool one. This is actually a headband, but
Yeah.
matches my pants.
So why do you wear the? Cause the past few times I've seen you, you've actually had like the respiratory thing on.
Yeah, a lot of people. I didn't realize this, but a lot of people with it wear them too. I know it's become some trend in Japan or whatever because of the pollution, but it helps to humidify the air and also like sense it because it's like a bumper for the, you know what I mean? So yeah, it protects your nose from like being blasted with cold air or whatever.
I understand. Cool. So,
But I turned it into an aesthetic because I said, if I'm going to look weird, I said, if I have to do this,
that's
I'm going to turn it into, I'm going to just make it work.
and it's so like perfect for you.
Yeah.
Because like you're no stranger to having a unique outfit on, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly.
So anytime
It
I
worked out
see you
perfectly.
like having like that on, I'm like, whoa. Like, is this just a fashion thing, or is like, you know?
I turned, when life hands you lemons, you make an outfit
You
with them.
could break both your arms and have them in casts, and I would just think it was a fashion choice. I wouldn't think twice about it.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me. You have no idea. That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said. Wow. Oh my.
Nothing surprises me with you. Just nothing. But I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that we're able to have this talk.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you're
kinda am
doing better,
too.
because I know that you are working on new music.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
am. And it's been painful.
If you're ready to move the conversation from
Scary health things.
from the scary stuff into
Now
music
you know,
thing, I would like
kids.
to. I was gonna talk about something, and I forgot what it was before we adjusted the brightness on the camera to show off your lights. Do you remember what I was talking about?
Might have been fashion stuff, Christmas stuff.
I got completely sidetracked. I was gonna bring up something that had to do with conspiracy theories, and I don't remember what it was, so I apologize. I got sidetracked by
That's okay.
by
I wasn't.
by Lexa's light up outfit. So
Yeah. Happy holidays. Merry Lexmas. I should not take. I'm sorry, Jesus. Perfect.
So
Perfect.
let's chat about some music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're at a point now, whether it is maybe not as convenient or as comfortable as it may have been in the past.
Yeah.
You are able to work on some new music, which you are right now.
Yeah.
So let's chat about that. What have you been up to?
I have a few singles. One I'm releasing, and it's very like I wouldn't even know how to like classify it. It kind of reminds me of like a super cute version of like Little Uzi Vert.
Okay.
But the video for it is outrageous. It's very cool. It's like the video that I wanted to make my whole life.
Wow, that's saying a lot given the fact that I am very aware of what you have done in the past.
Yeah. Oh God. No. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You've done some pretty out there stuff. So for you to say that this is the one, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it's like very encompassing of me and Lexa Terrestrial and my brand and the outer space stuff, and it's very cute and fun and badass at the same time. And we filmed a lot of it at Redfish Bowl, so it's got some really cool art in it. We did a lot of like green screen work, and there's doubles of me. I have like little Lexa clones who are like, it's just really cute. Cool. But the song is really cute. But then the album I'm working on is kind of dark and sad. It's like sad trap, and I'm still spitting, but some of it's kind of like this sad R&B.
I gotcha.
But some of it's happy, kind of like 90s TLC sounding R&B. It just depends. But I think for the most part, it's sad. It's kind of about a lot of the pain of the destruction of yourself and of life and everything that is like, it's very much so like for anybody that's going through any kind of pain, then inescapable pain. Yeah.
I think it's cool that we're at a place right now where having that self-reflective content is actually like embraced and understood by people.
Finally, yeah.
Because for such a long time, that was like, it was taboo to talk about yourself, especially in hip hop or rap.
I think in a lot of ways it still is. I mean, in some ways it still is, but I'm glad it's not. I think it just depends on who.
Drake?
Well,
he's pretty popular, right? I've heard of him. You've heard of him. You've probably heard of him.
I mean, I think I've heard of him, but
and like, but he like balances that line. He finds like he's like just sad enough, but also like still street enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah,
it's a balance, but it's there. It's there and it's accepted.
I just don't think he writes his own music, so I just can't ever believe it.
Well, sure,
with the stuff he's saying.
Sure, that's fair enough. That's a whole other conversation.
But yes, absolutely.
He's still the mouthpiece for it, and people accept it. They accept that topic being brought into their plate and, being mainstream. They'll listen to it. Whether he's writing it or not, people are still engaging with it. Because people are connecting with it, regardless of who is writing it. People are connecting with that, and they're not ashamed to admit that they're connecting with it.
Yeah,
and that's what I think is cool.
Yeah, I'm glad it's no longer like bad to, because there's a lot of people that are like, no, you can't be, so emo.
Sure, in your feelings, but like all that like air quote emo stuff is some of the biggest stuff that's been happening. The only thing that fucking frightens me is that it's like it seems like every single pioneer of that genre keeps dying before they're fucking 20 something. You know what I mean? Like they're all
you don't say
toast. And like I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way.
No, you're absolutely right.
The problem is it's so much of the like the glorification of the negative lifestyles that those people lead is like,
I think other people are trying to copy this glorification, and it comes off as, that's sort of why with Drake, I just can't resonate with him as much, is because he's singing it. It sounds good. He's singing it right, but it doesn't sound like his.
Sure.
And I can't.
Most people don't give a fuck about that. It's like watching a movie. Do you think like people that watch Brad Pitt in a movie are going to be mad because he didn't write his character?
No, but actors are supposed to get into that character and portray it with accuracy.
I would say that Drake has gotten into his character though, whether or not he writes his character.
I guess I gotta dive in a little deeper with Drake.
When I think of like people like Drake, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, like Lana Del Rey, it's like you're not writing any of your music, but you play a character really well.
Well, she does play that character really well, because you would assume maybe she is, but people like Lil Peep, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, like. Yeah, that like they really were in that much pain, and they were talking about it, and obviously, but
so is it safe to assume that anybody that's still alive is not writing their own music?
No.
I'm just kidding. That was a really bad joke. I apologize.
No.
I'm sorry. That was really rude.
I'm sure Drake still does, but for some reason with Drake, I don't know, it feel like a disconnect with him.
Well, I think that, yeah.
I don't know why. with him, but
because he's not American. He's from Toronto.
Yeah, but I love Kim.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding again.
And he's Jewish. I should love him.
He's making bad jokes left and right.
I should love Drake, but I don't. I think he might be.
I think
he's like a robot.
Yeah, no. It's everything is.
I don't know.
If I'm gonna stop joking,
very
around
talented
so much,
though. Very talented. I just don't resonate with him for some reason. It's like a fakery.
If I'm gonna stop joking so much and be real, I think the issue with Drake not being relatable is this just like, how are you supposed to relate to somebody like him? He's been a fucking superstar since he was a child in one way or another.
Degrassi.
And
yeah,
like, it's like, you don't like, it's, I don't feel that like there's, you just, it's hard to connect with somebody like that. And just like, I don't know, to be like one day, I don't know. I don't know enough about Drake to dissect it, but I just definitely agree with you that like I don't relate with him. But it's funny because like there are artists that maybe I do relate with. Like I feel like we'll say what's his name? Juice WRLD. subject wise, I feel like I could relate with his music
Me
a lot
too.
more, but I prefer the production and the delivery of somebody like Drake. I feel
It's
like
production. If you
yeah.
have a really, I'm telling you, I was just thinking about this the other day. Production. I was in the studio for 4 hours trying to finish up a track because we were being so picky about the production of it. You know, I wanted to get it right. I wanted it to sound this way, but not too this way. But I think it's a lot of the time what these artists are saying offline, outside of their music. What struggles have they had? What are they dealing with? Like,
Sure.
what adversity have they faced? So I think a lot of the time that is what we relate to, because we see them as, if they can overcome this, I can too. If they're still doing this, I can too. But with Drake, you know, it's like, what does he talk about? What struggles has he had? You know?
Yeah, all his struggles,
played
like
somebody
hanging out
with
at
a
basketball games and stuff. I don't know what Drake
Yeah,
does.
so I think that might be why. Whereas, like, and other people's, what they're saying offline, what they're living or speaking offline about is maybe a little bit more to how they're actually feeling. And people say, oh, keep it safe, keep it like publisher, you know, friendly or whatever friendly. But I think those artists that are speaking up and saying things about how they feel and what's really going on outside of their music as well is what we resonate with.
Well, that's the thing.
too.
I don't think that. You mentioned, you know, Drake maybe or maybe not writing his own music. Like
Yeah,
I think
that
think
doesn't
of
even
him,
matter that
well, I
much.
think of him. Well, the thing is this: I just think of him as like an actor and a role, and he's always been an actor. He's been an actor since he was a child, and he's playing the part really well. So when it comes to what he's doing in his outside life, I don't give a shit because I don't feel like he's an artist. I feel like he's an influencer and a tastemaker and an actor, but I don't feel like he is an artist.
Yeah, that I can agree
I could
with
be
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. Drake, hit me up.
Like,
But like, I don't know. I have no idea. These are just my assumptions.
I actually think Drake would like our music. He might steal it and then have
Yeah, most likely.
Look what happened.
Didn't he
Look
steal
what-
Hotline Bling?
that's an old 70s record I actually bought, and I played it and I said, wait a second. And this was around the time I had your vinyl too. And I'm like, this is Hotline Bling. I said, how did I accidentally buy this old 70s vinyl? Hotline Bling was on it. It's an old 70s song. But that whole thing with him and XXX.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and then, where's X?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Gone.
He called it, I don't know.
It's scary.
I need another sip of that beer. This is actually a really good beer. I don't like dark beer, but this has got this like aftertaste. Shout out Penn Brewery, because it's got this like dark, chocolatey, burnt sort of bark coffee bean aftertaste, which I like. I don't like dark beer, but this is very good. So shalom.
We are currently not sponsored by Penn Brewery, but hey,
Maybe
Penn, maybe.
if you could get someone like me to drink beer, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Do I look? I don't know. I look like I came out of some sort of cloning factory in Tokyo. I don't. So I'm just saying, you might want to hit up Brian, because I might go buy a whole case for my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. No. If you want the whole bottle, you can have more.
I'm just a baby.
We have plenty more in the fridge.
Nobody cards me. I'm kidding. I'm actually like 75 years old.
So one of the things I actually wanted to talk to you about, speaking of getting old, was a realization that I had recently. And I talked about this earlier today. I just did a podcast with somebody named Huge Palmer. Are you familiar with Huge Palmer?
I don't believe so. Tell me more.
He's just turned 21. He's a local rap kid.
I did see.
He's younger.
Was he wearing that modern art shirt?
No, that's Pick Patek.
Okay.
But no, there's another. I don't know if they know each other, but like I've been, a lot of these younger people in the hip hop scene have been hitting me up to come on, which is cool because like I'm so disconnected from it. So it's cool to get to meet some of these people that are doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I was talking with him about what I'm going to talk to you about right now.
Oh shit.
So for the longest time, you know, I'm 34 years old right now. And for a very long time, I was always worried about being too old to keep doing what I'm doing. But you know what's really funny is that rap and hip hop has changed so much that what I'm doing sounds like old people music. Like it doesn't even sound like, I don't feel like what I do sounds like what like 20 somethings that are like modern rap and modern hip hop. What I'm doing it just sounds like old, like normal hip hop. What I think is normal hip hop.
Yeah.
But like young kids are like, it's like more like, you know what I mean? Like actually like spitting bars. That's not a big part of hip hop or rap anymore. It's more like, you know, like the singing R&B influences,
it's like this
the auto-tune stuff. Yeah, the more melodic stuff. And that's not what I do. That's not what I've ever done.
Honestly, that really wasn't what I did when I first started rapping. I get what you're saying, but that's the thing. Your sound is very like, it's like punk rock and rap had the best baby ever.
I've always done my best to just not fit in, which is maybe a benefit.
Oh, me too. You don't say.
It's you know, maybe it's a blessing and a curse, I suppose.
It is. It's a blessing and a curse.
But regardless, when it just comes to me, like, you know, spitting bars, if I ever play a show with younger people, which happens from time to time,
yeah,
you know, for me to be like, I do hip hop. When I'm saying I do hip hop, I have to be very aware of who I'm talking to, because what I view as hip hop and what they view as hip hop are two different things.
Yeah, but they're all. But it is hip hop. That's the thing, is there's so many different branches of hip hop. Like, you're not lying. You shouldn't feel bad for saying that, because you have been doing it.
I don't. Yeah. But it's just like there's so much of the modern hip hop.
You feel like so outside of it.
All the kind of emo stuff, or like, you know, like back to your Juice WRLDs or your Little Peeps or your XXX, like all of that stuff is, and according to the people that listen to it, it is rap and or hip hop.
Yeah.
But when I listen to a lot of that stuff, I'm like, this is like modern R&B. I don't think of it as rap or hip hop.
Or even like some of them like rock or something.
Yeah, sure. It's more rock. It's more R&B. It's more soulful. I don't really get like rap or hip hop from what they're doing.
I get what you're saying.
I feel like just because it has like 808s or a trap beat doesn't make it a hip hop song.
You're absolutely right. I think that they sort of like fooled their way into. I think there's certain elements that make it hip hop, but
the same thing happened to pop punk. Yeah. It's like pop punk is not pop punk anymore. Man. It's just pop rock.
Oh,
like pop punk nowadays is pop rock. It is not pop punk. But that's just one person that grew up listening to like the Descendants versus like people that are listening to stuff that's modern. Now the sound has just changed. That's all it is. I have to accept it. It's just different. Yeah. It's still pop punk to them, and it's still, you know, all the artists that we're talking about in rap or hip hop, that is rap and hip hop to them. It's just evolved. You know, these are both very young genres of music. Rap has only been around for maybe half a century at most. That's being very generous.
I think they said the first hip hop. I mean, if you go back to like the Moody Blues days, or like, like 79, 80.
Yeah, it's like saying half a century is very generous, and pop punk's even younger. Yeah. You know, these are only, you know, several decades old genres of music. So who is anybody to say what it is and what it isn't, and try to stop it from evolving?
I guess, yeah, but that doesn't make. I think if you can call it hip hop, you can call. Definitely, what you're doing is probably more hip hop than, if anything. But like your thing about getting old, like I have this written down here. Okay.
Notes.
I did. Guys can perform until they're old. There are less rules for them.
Oh, I could totally see that.
Yeah, because I think with women and then women in hip hop, it is a little. It's hard. It's harder. It's different. It's different.
So there's an interesting conversation that we can get into if you want to regarding this.
It's a lot harder.
And regarding
in so many ways, being a woman, but getting older as a guy, it just doesn't matter. You're good to go.
Well, I think that honestly, like even that transcends music and art. just in general, I think it's easier to be an older male.
Yeah,
Because
I think
like,
more
because like
respectable.
old,
You're
there's
more
something that's
polished.
kind of like a lot of people romanticize like the old, smart, put together male. You know what I mean? Like that's an old guy that has his shit together, and it's kind of sexy, and he has the salt and pepper
more
beard, and like
polished.
all
Yeah,
that,
they're polished.
all that fucking all the silly stereotypes. But like there really isn't necessarily that for women as often. And if you're a woman in the entertainment world, like if you're in rap or music, it's like you.
It depends on your genre, but it gets really hard.
Yeah,
it depends on your genre, but it gets really, really hard.
And being in rap and hip hop and being a woman, it's like
it's already hard as
you have to be perpetually hot.
Yeah.
If you want people to take you seriously.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're hot, you have to go through this obstacle course of bullshit just to be taken seriously and people not bullshit around with you. But then if you're not hot, it's like it's like this weird. It's just so weird.
But I also want to throw this out there for anybody that follows you online or knows you. You're definitely no stranger to being like, hey, I'm sexy and I know it.
No, I love expressing that. I think women should. So it's like, again, I don't,
So it's like, how do you find that balance then? Let's have this discussion, because I'm actually really curious about this. As somebody that takes their craft very seriously, which I fully believe 110% you do. You've been doing this way too long to not take it seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
No, I know that you give a fuck about this.
I do.
And you talk about, taking yourself seriously and all of these things. But, then, okay, how do you balance
the sexy stuff?
The sexy stuff, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, like this is an Instagram and here's a picture of my butt, but also I'm a serious artist, but I'm a female. Take me seriously. I feel like that's so complicated.
It is very
to like
complicated.
get that message across.
It is very complicated.
Because I feel like it's like almost like you're not allowed to be confident in yourself and just put something out there like that without being taken the wrong way. And I don't think that's fair for you.
Or taken down.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. No. Oh man, yeah, no, dude. I think about this all the time. I mean, it's even harder whenever it's like your job and you get paid to be like doing sexy modeling stuff or whatever. But I think I've struck a good balance. I've struck an excellent balance. I run into this problem a lot less. Like people actually do respect me and take me seriously. When I'm surrounded in a room or a show or a meeting with all guys, they take me seriously. It's not even about that at all, because I think in a sense I am one of the guys, but I also know that these people know that I'm a smart girl and I give a fuck about what I'm doing. And I think if you just give a fuck about what you're doing and you portray that to people, then they're going to know, you know what I mean?
I think that it's saying? It's like so. Again, I've known you forever, so I know that I can sit down with you and have an awesome conversation. But there's like all these people that don't know you, and they may see like, oh, you have a wacky outfit on, the bow in your hair, or maybe your butt's on Instagram or something like that. And it's like this obvious. It's just like, I feel like there's a lot of people that may assume that there's just like a very shallow surface there and there isn't some person in there, but it's like, no, it's actually Lex is actually a really smart, hardworking person that like you should have a conversation with.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It's like it's like she puts more energy into putting an outfit together than probably most people do their entire lives.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better because I was like, why is this so tiring?
No, I think that it's just like you're allowed to be eccentric. You're allowed to be loud.
And
you're allowed
sexy.
to be goofy. You're allowed to have your own voice. You're allowed to be sexy. You're allowed to be all these things and still be a fucking person and still be a mature adult.
Where's the applaud button? Thank you. Thank you. That is, oh my God. Give it up for Brian, everybody. You said it all, because people, it's like you can't be one or the other. You can't be goofy without somebody thinking you're not intelligent. You can't be sexy or eccentric without somebody thinking you're not talented or whatever. People get really surprised when they go and hear my music or see me perform. They're like, I did not expect that out of you. And I'm like, I know you didn't, because I look like this and I'm kind of goofy. I know you didn't expect some serious bars out of me, but it's okay. Like, I like taking people by surprise. At the same time, I think it was it's a process. Like, I shouldn't have to feel, it sucks because I've always felt like a lot of guys in the industry never took me seriously. And I was like, I think it's because I'm goofy and eccentric and a woman, and they just don't know me that well.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't want to be around somebody that's serious all the time. I don't want to be around somebody that's goofy all the time. So you got to find somebody that could do both.
Yeah.
Right here.
I think I've struck a
because you're an actual fucking human being with thoughts and feelings, and like the emotional spectrum goes all over the place. Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm a goofball, sometimes I don't feel like fucking talking to you. Leave me alone.
Sometimes I'll throw over a 500-pound TV. You never know what you get with me.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding. No, but really, no. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're a person. You're no more or less human. We can get into the discussion of whether or not you even want to identify as human.
No. Isn't that fun? Is it that funny though that even though I'm an alien, I'm kind of very more human than a lot of humans I meet? It's kind of weird. I don't. But I think you are too. No, I think we've struck a good balance. The road to get there it's very complicated, being a girl and like doing all that and this being your job, but a lot of girls in hip hop, Nicki, even Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, like they still, when they post sexy photos on Instagram, I can get the vibe that like people either like it or they might not take them as seriously, but
it's literally no different than the cool rapper posting a photo holding a stack of money.
Yeah,
it's like this is
I think women are art.
It's what you're subscribing to if you're going to engage with an artist outside of their art. It's for a reason. You know what I mean? And for somebody like a Cardi B or you, it's just because it's like. You're a cute girl having fun, and here's some cute pictures of me, but also here's some fun art stuff I'm doing. Here's some music. This is my life.
Yes.
But like, I'm cute. Deal with it.
Arigato.
You know what I mean? And
that's really nice of you.
And for some dudes, it's just kind of like, well, hey, like, I'm just hanging out with the homies. I got some money. Maybe I'm hanging out with some fucking babes, and
here's my neighbor. Here's some liquor in front of his car.
That kind of stuff. Like people are like they it's like you need to be presentable no matter what. So it's like, but like for like dudes, it's kind of like whatever. But for girls, it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It is.
You post a picture of your butt, and it's all like, oh, like what is this? So you think you're like,
and then
you're some fucking model now, and then you don't, and it's all like, oh, like.
You could be all of those things.
Let me see that butt, and then you.
Oh, I know. Yeah, let me see that butt. Shut up. Where's the butt? I don't want to hear you talk. Where's your butt? No. It's weird, which sucks because a lot of the time, sometimes these companies or people will ask you, "Hey, post a sexy photo," and then it's almost like, "Oh, you don't want me to post a sexy photo. There's no winning." So I just do what I want. And that doesn't make me any less intelligent or talented or whatever. What makes me less talented is the bullshit I go through on a day-to-day basis, which actually has nothing to do with that. But yeah, you're right.
You mean like with the health stuff?
Oh yeah, the health stuff. Yeah, but no, that's like it's crazy. Like you seriously brought up like what I've been thinking about for probably more than 2 years. And you said it so very eloquently.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm happy we talked about that because that's like, that's something really I haven't been able to express. And it's like this Pittsburgh mentality too, because it happens a lot in Pittsburgh. It's like less in other places, but the kind of like female struggle here, like the female to male like dichotomy or how people treat you if you're this. It's just so complicated. People are very judgmental.
Well, I think the hip hop scene here, and you've been doing this long enough to probably know exactly where I'm coming from, it's never clicked. It's never been a strong community.
No, there's been a lot of people doing their own thing.
There's a lot of artists, not enough promoters. Every single promoter that gets into the hip hop thing ends up being a fucking scumbag in one way or another, it seems. It's like either they're artists that start booking shows and they'll maybe book a handful of shows and they're good shows, but they're artists. They're not promoters. They don't want to fucking do this full time.
So
they
it's
fucking tap out. But like you think about other scenes, this is something else I was talking with Huge Palmer about too, is like I think the success of scenes like the local punk scene or indie rock or metal or hardcore, like all of those scenes have had strong promoters that were just promoters passionate about promoting and put together good events. They paid attention to the scene, they curated good things, and they were able to blossom a community. The hip hop scene in Pittsburgh has not had any promoters that actually give a fuck about the entire hip hop scene. There will be promoters that maybe promote their little cliques.
It's very cliquish.
It's very cliquish, and then
it's very cliquish.
It's cliquish and temporary. It's
and
like one click fizzles out, another one pops up.
Oh yeah,
but nobody actually like is trying to focus on the scene as a whole.
Or themselves individually.
That, and there are also no venues that want to fucking like help foster it either.
Yeah, that's something somebody brought up to me is that why don't we have more? I think it was somebody in New York. They were like, why doesn't Pittsburgh have more like venues and stuff like that? And it's like we did. They keep getting everything keeps like getting bought out and renamed and whatever. But like. The artists and the people that I found in Pittsburgh that I do shows with, like, amen, good. We're all doing our own thing and killing it. But it has always been like that with hip hop in Pittsburgh.
Too much clicky stuff. And,
it is,
obviously, and like I could say this with confidence. Most of the people that I know in the hip hop scene here do not promote themselves anywhere near as hard as the people that I know that play in other styles of music. I think it's like a lot of people just kind of want things handed to them. So you don't get venues that even want to take a chance on these people because they know they're not going to fucking promote.
Huh. Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I feel like
I don't know. If you're going to do something, you go all out.
I feel like there's a lot of people here. It could be changing because a lot of these people that I'm talking about.
I think it's the younger people.
A lot of these people that I'm talking about aren't even super active anymore. But for a while, it was just like, I'm going to book a show and people are going to show up and I'm going to get paid. And it's like, I never saw the back end work. It just didn't seem like people were working for it.
There's got to be a little bit of back end work. You got like, even if you're talking to people, like, dude, because people ask you, hey, oh my God, when's your next show? I really, really want to come see you. Boom, boom.
And also another issue too with rap and hip hop, it's so youth driven. And you think the majority of the spaces where you could have shows can't facilitate all ages shows. That's another problem. A lot of places don't have great sound, and if you don't have good sound, it really suffers for a hip hop show. Because it's not like a thing where like a band can just set up and then you only need a speaker to kind of work for the microphone. For like rap show, everything has to come through the fucking speakers for it to sound good. And if you don't have a good PA, it's going to sound like shit, and people are going to be like, "This is bad."
Oh God, this live sound thing. I mean, I have fortunately not had too many issues with that, but since getting sick, like live sounds like important. But I played. Okay, my last show was all ages. It was at the Hard Rock. I promoted it. I promoted the crap out of it. I made a ton of money at this show, sold a ton of merch. It was with my good friend September Morning. You'd like them. They're like punk, goth, sort of like melodic. They're really good. But I did sort of like, I'm like kind of in the middle. I'm like hip hop brushing with that genre. And I've played with them before, like in other places. They're really awesome. They had me on. So to have me go up, sound guy actually giving a crap, me doing my best. Like, no, the sound wasn't perfect, but when I listened back, it was good. Up there when you're doing it, it's like, yeah. But when I listened back, it sounded great. But then to have me go right after hardcore metal and then have a melodic goth band, all ages Hard Rock Cafe, not bad. It wasn't bad, I will say. I haven't played there in a long time.
Nothing's going to be perfect. No show's going to be perfect.
No, but I will always promote and do my best and like everything when it comes to like promoting shows and showing up with making it the best that I can. I have to, you know.
I think that there's an art. Obviously, we talk a lot as performers about sound and needing to be good at venues for us to perform accordingly. But also on the flip of that,
especially for you,
I feel like as a performer, you have to get good at playing in shitty situations.
Yeah.
Until then, like, you're bullshit. Like, if you can't play,
you could play anywhere.
I mean, obviously, if you're able to control the situation and get it to sound, if you're able to make things work, it's good. But there's plenty of times where we'll be at sound check, and whenever, like, I'll ask for some specific things from the sound engineer, nothing crazy. I'm just like, hey, like, I have these lines and I'm doing this. And just like, the way that engineer interacts with me, the way they answer my questions, I know off the bat, like, oh, if you care and if you're going to do a good job. Immediately.
I know a lot of the sound guys
it's one of those
like,
things where it's like, if they don't give a fuck and I know that it's going to be whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try to ask you for anything that you obviously can't or don't want to provide me.
You do really good on your end, but there's so many I don't give a fuck sound guys.
I'm just going to deal with what I have to deal with. Yeah. And I always like, especially I try to like, it's like I always like hate opening up shows in venues I've never played before because I don't know what it's like. Yeah. So I always hope that, like, you know, if I'm headlining or if I'm in the middle of the bill somewhere, I always make sure to get there early so I can like pay attention to like, oh, like how does it sound in the room? And like just little things, like actually watch the sound engineer mixing the bands while they're playing. Like,
take notes,
get an idea of like what I'm getting into, just to know like, oh, okay, like he's actually paying attention to what they need, and like the room has there's this many monitors, there's, you know, just like get an idea so I know what I'm walking into.
That's a great okay. Yeah, no, I think every artist should be taking notes if you perform live and like out of state or travel or get, you know, for shows. Pay attention to this. Yeah. Like, I think early on I've gotten lucky and had a lot of sound guys that either they've worked with me before or they actually care. And they've like been like, I performed at this anime convention and they were like really cool. Like they were actually better than I expected. I've gotten lucky. And then the Mr. Smalls, their Funhouse were great sound. That sound guy, I don't remember his name. Yeah. Okay. He was, when I went to your show, he was there, and I performed one of my best shows, you know, because I was like, oh man, I didn't miss a beat. Everything was perfect, pitch, everything. And the sound guy was like really into it, and he was really into his job. And I was just like, I'm never going to forget this. And then you were there and he was there, and I was like, I love when a guy gets it, like a sound engineer actually like really gets into it. I really do. I've gotten lucky lately, but most of the time I just kind of perform in whatever situation. If you want me to do a show under the ocean, I'll just show up and pray it works, make it work, whatever it is. But you know what I mean? I'll make it work. It just, we want it to be good for us. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like we're those kind of people that like want it to be. We want to know we felt it.
It's so hard if I'm not feeling it, it comes out in my performance, and then that is gonna affect the way people are interpreting my performance.
Unless you think it does, but most people can't tell, because that's happened a lot of the time to me, especially like after getting sick. That's happened a lot of time to me, and they're like, no, that was sure. Amazing. But yeah, maybe. But you have a point.
I get in my head a lot.
You're not alone.
The last thing that I'm gonna bring up, we've broke our hour mark.
Woo!
So I don't want to go too much longer because nobody ever listens this long.
Keep it short and sweet.
I will say this. I don't know if you've ever had this thought, but hey, it's like, so I'm a creative person. You're unquestionably a creative person.
Thank you.
Have you ever thought about how your creativity can get the best of you because you're able, you're able to create these situations in your head that are so unrealistic and so over the top, but your imagination is capable of doing it. And then all of a sudden, like, you're thinking the worst possible things in the world, painting these terrible scenarios.
Oh yeah.
Or it's just all in your head. It's all in your brain because like you just have this imagination that's off the fucking charts.
You let your imagination run amok.
Yeah. So I'm always thinking the worst. I'm thinking like, like
no,
if I don't do A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. But it's like nobody fucking cares that much. Nobody's as involved as I am.
I've been there before, and I've learned to, sadly, I hate this, but I've learned to like settle and not think that way. I think just because there's only so much traumatic shit you could deal with. But that, in a nutshell, oh yeah, that's me for sure. And sometimes I'll create inventive ways to even just sabotage myself, which is unfortunate. But I think in regards to your creativity, like with all of this, with sound, with even like the lights and the projections, like amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. I don't think sometimes overthinking will mess you up. Sometimes, most of the time, it'll mess you up. I think you know what you're doing. You just got to think. You know what you're doing. You don't have to like overthink it. But yeah, my imagination's run amok. That's where I was last year on this time. I was thinking the worst.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I almost ended it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I almost ended it. But I just somehow survived.
I'm glad.
And I'm here to tell the tale.
The world would be a shittier place without you. Just so you know.
Thank you. Yeah, it might be. Wow.
I don't know how many of you I can handle. You talking about the clones in your music video is a little stressful.
They're
I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't know how many Lexa Terrestrials we need in the world, but if more people were like you, I think it would be a better place.
Aw,
just saying.
Thank you. Honestly, I agree. The clones in the video are quiet. They're thinkers. They're planners. They're more like just nice people mitigating the bad things that happen. They're not much. They don't spend time on the outfits. It looks like they do, but they are just dressed by somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2020, we're gonna have some new content.
2020 is the future. Yeah, it's the future. I think I'm sort of 5 years into the future. Maybe somewhere along the line, everything will catch up. But yeah, 2020 should be interesting.
And where can people find your stuff and keep up with you? Let the people know.
Yeah. If you have my name, you could find me anywhere on any galaxy, even the ones really far away. Just Lexa Terrestrial, like extraterrestrial, but Lexa. LexaTerrestrial.com. I make some really cool stuff for guys too. It's not as crazy as you think. It's kind of more normal, but anywhere, Lexa Terrestrial. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I use them all. I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
It's outro time. And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. One more time, Lexa, let's get a cheers.
Cheers.
Really happy to have you here. Happy to catch up.
I'm so happy. Yeah, no, just sitting down and talking with you makes me happy. So
I wish we could do it for another couple hours. We probably easily could, but
we would be wrecked.
It would
I'd be wrecked.
It's I feel like I always have a lovely time talking with you, and I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're doing well, most importantly.
Thank you.
Happy to hear about the new music and see the new videos, but the fact that you're here, healthy, well, smiling, laughing, even if you may be in a little bit of pain, I'm happy that you're here.
That's so nice. That's the nicest thing, and it's true. Thank you.
No, it's really, really good. So be sure to check out Lexa's stuff, and I'll be back again in a couple days with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat. 2020 is the year because this is going up in January. We're in the future. Woo, woo. Thanks for listening. And we'll fade that out. We did it. It's done.